You've been doing everything right, fasting window nailed down, water in hand, pushing through those hunger waves. But that stubborn belly fat, it's still there, laughing at you in the mirror. I've seen it in hundreds of patients. They swear they're fasting perfectly, and yet their waistline refuses to shrink. The truth is, fasting alone isn't enough if your body doesn't have the right signal to burn fat. That signal is protein. Here's what most people don't realize. Fasting is not magic. It's a controlled stress, a signal that tells your body to shift gears. But if your protein levels are too low, your body won't pull from visceral fat. Instead, it starts breaking down muscle to survive. And once that happens, your metabolism slows, your energy drops, and fasting starts working against you. Protein is the missing switch. It's the message your liver, your brain, and your mitochondria are waiting for. The cue that says, "We have what we need, now let's burn stored fat." Without it, fasting becomes a stall instead of a fat-burning tool. And that's why so many people fast for weeks, even months, and never see their belly shrink. But when you pair fasting with strategic protein, at the right dose, at the right time, everything changes. Your energy stabilizes, your body protects muscle, and your metabolism finally starts tapping into deep, stubborn visceral fat. In this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to make that switch, how to use protein, not just to survive your fast, but to supercharge it. You start fasting because you want to burn fat. And at first, it feels like it's working. You drop a few pounds on the scale, your appetite shrinks, and you think, finally, I've found what works. But then everything stalls. The weight loss slows down, your energy fades, and the belly fat that seemed to melt at first just sits there. You're not doing anything differently. Same fasting window, same discipline, but your body has hit a wall. That wall is what happens when fasting runs without enough protein. Here's what's really going on inside your body. When you fast, your insulin levels drop. That's the signal that allows stored energy to be released. Low insulin means your fat cells can finally open up and let go of their contents. That's the magic of fasting. Your body starts running on stored energy instead of food energy. But here's the catch. Your body doesn't know which tissue to burn for fuel. It can burn fat or it can burn muscle. And that decision depends on whether you've supplied it with enough protein. If your diet is low in protein, your body senses a shortage of the amino acids it needs to repair and rebuild. So even while insulin is low, your body starts breaking down muscle tissue to extract those amino acids. It's a survival strategy. Your liver converts those amino acids into glucose to keep your brain running, but the cost is steep. You're losing lean tissue, not fat. And when you lose muscle, your metabolic rate drops. That means you burn fewer calories at rest, making it even harder to lose fat the next time you fast. It's one of the biggest misconceptions I see in patients who come to me after weeks or months of fasting. They'll say, "I lost weight, but I don't feel stronger. I feel weaker." That's because the weight they lost wasn't pure fat. It was muscle and water. Short-term weight loss can be deceptive like that. The scale rewards you, but your metabolism quietly suffers. The difference between short-term weight loss and true fat loss comes down to what your body is using for fuel. In short-term fasting with low protein intake, your body prioritizes survival, not sculpting. It grabs whatever fuel is easiest to convert, and that often means breaking down your own tissues. But when you're protein sufficient, the chemistry changes. Those amino acids tell your liver and muscles, "We're safe, we have building blocks." Now your body can confidently reach into fat stores, especially visceral fat, for energy. Visceral fat is not the same as the fat you pinch under your skin. It's the dangerous kind that wraps around your organs and drives inflammation, insulin resistance, and metabolic disease. It's also the last fat your body wants to release because it's tied to survival. Fasting can help target it, but only when your body feels supported enough, nourished enough to spare your muscle tissue. Protein provides that assurance. Without it, your body hesitates. It chooses to preserve the visceral fat and sacrifices muscle instead. Think of two people fasting side by side. Both skip breakfast and hold off until noon before their first meal. One breaks the fast with a smoothie full of fruit and almond milk, barely 10 grams of protein. The other eats 30 grams of protein from eggs or collagen. Both technically broke their fast, but only one signaled to the body that it's time to burn fat safely. The person with protein in their meal will maintain lean mass, keep their metabolism active, and use visceral fat for energy. The other, they'll feel drained, hungrier the next day, and start noticing that fasting isn't working anymore. That's the point where so many people give up. They think they've reached their limit or that fasting just doesn't work for them. But the truth is, fasting is only one half of the fat burning equation. The other half is protein. Without it, fasting turns into stress. With it, fasting becomes a powerful metabolic tool. The difference isn't willpower, it's chemistry. When people hear the word insulin, they instantly think bad. They imagine insulin spikes in fat storage, but that's only half the story. Insulin isn't the villain. It's the volume knob for your metabolism. The goal isn't to turn insulin off forever. It's to keep it in balance. And this is where protein plays its quiet but powerful role. Protein doesn't spike insulin the way carbohydrates do. Instead, it creates a steady, controlled rise, just enough to keep your metabolism anchored and your muscle tissue protected while you fast. Eat. Think of your metabolism like a sailboat in the middle of the ocean. When you fast, you're removing the waves of glucose that usually push your insulin up and down. The sea becomes calm, which is good. But without protein, there's no anchor to keep your metabolism stable. You start drifting and your body has no guidance. Protein acts as that anchor. It gives your body the stability it needs to maintain muscle mass, even as insulin stays low enough to keep burning fat. Here's how it works biochemically. When you eat protein, it breaks down into amino acids, the tiny building blocks that repair tissues, make enzymes, and support hormones. Some of those amino acids trigger a mild insulin release. This is not the same as the large insulin surge caused by sugar or processed carbs. Instead, it's a controlled signal that says, we have resources, we're safe. That safety message is critical. It tells your body it doesn't need to break down muscle for survival. The amino acids already circulating can handle the job. In contrast, when insulin is too low for too long, as in extended fasting without enough protein, the body starts looking for backup. It begins converting amino acids from your own muscle into glucose to feed essential organs like your brain. That's the moment you start losing lean mass. The scale might show progress, but internally, your metabolism is shrinking. Each gram of lost muscle means your body burns fewer calories at rest, and your fat burning potential weakens. This is why people can fast perfectly and still feel like their metabolism has slowed to a crawl. They've lost the very engine that burns fat efficiently. Protein protects that engine. Those amino acids signal to your body, keep the muscle. Burn the fat. It's like a conversation happening between your liver, your muscles, and your pancreas, a dialogue that keeps your insulin response gentle, your blood sugar steady, and your metabolism humming along. To visualize this, imagine two types of fires. Carbohydrates are like kindling. They light fast, burn hot, and die quickly, leaving you hungry again. Protein, on the other hand, is like a dense log. It burns slow and steady, giving your metabolism a consistent source of fuel without the spikes and crashes. That slow, even burn keeps your energy stable during fasting windows and prevents that shaky low blood sugar feeling that derails so many people. Protein's other superpower is muscle preservation. Inside your muscle cells, there's a constant balance between breakdown and repair. Fasting naturally tilts that balance toward breakdown. That's part of the process. But when amino acids are present, they act like construction workers on standby. Even during fasting, those amino acids can be used to patch and preserve muscle tissue. It's not about building big muscles. It's about maintaining enough lean mass to keep your metabolism strong and your fat burning active. There's also a hormone level effect most people overlook. Protein influences glucagon, the hormone that acts as insulin's opposite. While insulin stores energy, glucagon releases it. When you eat protein, glucagon rises gently, telling your body to continue accessing stored fat even as insulin holds steady. That's why protein doesn't shut down fat burning, it balances it. It keeps the hormonal totter level, allowing you to stay in fat burning mode without sacrificing strength or metabolism. So when you're fasting, Protein is not your enemy, it's your metabolism's safety net. It keeps you grounded when insulin drops, ensures your body doesn't cannibalize its own muscle, and maintains that smooth metabolic rhythm that makes fasting sustainable long term. Without it, your body floats aimlessly, trying to survive. With it, your metabolism stays anchored, your energy stays consistent, and your fasting finally becomes productive instead of punishing. When most people hit a plateau with fasting, they assume the answer is to eat even less. They tighten their window, skip another meal, or cut calories lower. But here's the problem. When you push fasting harder without adding enough protein, you're not burning more fat. You're burning through muscle. Your body doesn't interpret less food as discipline. It interprets it as danger. And when it senses danger, it switches from fat burning mode to muscle saving mode, slowing your metabolism to conserve energy. That's why you can be fasting perfectly and still feel tired, weak, and stuck at the same weight. When fasting lacks protein, the first tissue your body pulls from for fuel isn't fat, it's muscle. Fat takes time to break down, but amino acids from muscle are readily available. Your liver can turn those amino acids into glucose to keep your blood sugar stable. It's an efficient survival mechanism, but metabolically, it's a disaster. Every pound of muscle you lose is like removing an engine cylinder. You're still running, but with less power and more strain. Now, let's make it real. Imagine two people, both fasting 18 hours a day. The first one, let's call her Sarah, breaks her fast with a protein-packed meal, eggs, salmon, and leafy greens, totaling about 35 grams of protein. The second, Jenna, breaks her fast with a smoothie made from fruit and nut milk, maybe 8 grams of protein total. Both women feel full at first, but the difference shows up within hours. Sarah's body receives a clear message. We're safe. We have amino acids. We can repair tissue and continue burning fat. Her insulin rises gently, then stabilizes. Her muscles are preserved, her metabolism stays active, and her body pulls energy from stored fat to fuel her day. Her energy feels steady, her cravings are low, and over time, she notices her waistline shrinking, especially that deep belly fat that never used to budge. Jenna's body, on the other hand, gets a very different message. The low-protein meal doesn't supply enough amino acids to sustain her tissues. So, even though she's fasting and lowering insulin, her body senses scarcity. It starts scavenging amino acids from her muscle fibers to make up the difference. That process keeps her brain functioning, but it comes at a cost. Her metabolism begins to slow. Within a few days, Jenna feels more fatigued, hungrier between meals, and less motivated to keep fasting. She steps on the scale and sees minimal change, maybe even a small gain as her body retains more water and clings to fat. This is why less food isn't always better. Fasting without the right balance of nutrients doesn't enhance fat burning. It sabotages it. You might see quick results at first, but they're unsustainable. Your body is incredibly smart. When it detects ongoing stress without adequate nutrition, it adapts by slowing everything down. Digestion, metabolism, even thyroid function. You may start noticing brittle nails, hair thinning, or brain fog. Those aren't signs that fasting doesn't work. They're signs your body is undernourished. The real magic of fasting happens when you combine metabolic flexibility with proper recovery. Protein is the recovery piece. It gives your body permission to stay strong, even in a calorie deficit. It keeps your lean mass intact, which is crucial because muscle is what burns fat at rest. The more muscle you have, the easier it becomes to access visceral fat for energy. The less muscle you have, the harder it is to lose fat, no matter how long you fast. So many people confuse hunger with progress, thinking the goal of fasting is to endure longer stretches of emptiness. But fasting is not about suffering. It's about efficiency. It's a reset button for your metabolism, not a starvation challenge. When protein is low, fasting becomes stress. When protein is right, fasting becomes strategy. The irony is that people who eat slightly more, but smarter, often see better results. They lose more inches from their waist, feel sharper mentally, and maintain energy throughout the day. That's not luck, that's biochemistry working in their favor. Fasting doesn't demand perfection. It demands understanding. Once you realize that balance, not deprivation, drives true fat loss, everything about fasting starts to make sense. When it comes to fasting, most people focus on how long they fast. But the real secret isn't the length of your fasting window, it's how you break your fast. The moment you take that first bite, You're telling your metabolism what kind of day it's going to have. And if you want your fasting results to accelerate, if you want your body to burn visceral fat instead of muscle, there's one rule that changes everything. Break your fast with protein first. That single shift rewires your hormones, stabilizes insulin, and sets the tone for hours of clean energy. When you open your eating window with protein, you send a message to your body that you're nourished, safe, and ready to burn fat efficiently. But when you break your fast with carbs, even healthy ones like fruit or oatmeal, you instantly spike insulin, flip back into fat storing mode, and undo much of the work your fast just accomplished. Here's why it matters so much. After fasting, your body is highly sensitive. Your cells are hungry for nutrients. The first thing you eat determines how your insulin and blood sugar behave for the rest of the day. Protein causes a mild, steady rise in insulin that helps shuttle amino acids into your muscles without sending glucose soaring. Carbohydrates, on the other hand, trigger a rapid insulin surge, which stops fat burning in its tracks and leads to hunger sooner. That's why so many people break a fast with something light, like a smoothie or toast, only to find themselves ravenous an hour later. Protein changes that. It triggers the release of satiety hormones like peptide YY and GLP-1, which quiet hunger and keep you full for hours. It also supports glucagon, insulin's balancing partner, which encourages fat to be released from storage. The result, you feel satisfied, your cravings drop, and your body keeps burning fat even after you've eaten. The timing of that protein intake is everything. The first 30 minutes after breaking your fast are your prime opportunity to stabilize your hormones and protect your muscle. Think of it like landing a plane. You've been coasting in fat burning mode during your fast. Now you're bringing your metabolism in for a smooth landing. If you land with protein, you glide in gently, keeping your blood sugar steady and your energy high. If you land with carbs, it's a crash. Insulin spikes, fat burning halts, and hunger returns before your next meal. So, what does breaking your fast with protein actually look like? It doesn't have to be complicated. You can start with simple, whole food sources that give your body the amino acids it needs to recover and stay strong. A few scrambled eggs cooked in olive oil, a scoop of protein powder blended with unsweetened almond milk, or a few ounces of leftover steak. These are all excellent break fasts. Greek yogurt, cottage cheese, tuna, chicken, or even a collagen shake can work too. The goal is to get around 25 to 35 grams of protein within that first meal. That's the sweet spot where most people see better fasting endurance, faster fat loss, and fewer energy crashes later in the day. One of my patients once told me she used to break her fast with oatmeal and berries because it felt clean. But she was always starving by mid-afternoon. When she switched to eggs and smoked salmon instead, everything changed. Her cravings disappeared, she stopped snacking, and her fasting window the next day became effortless. She wasn't fighting hunger anymore. Her hormones were finally cooperating. When you lead with protein, you set up a domino effect. Your insulin stays balanced, your blood sugar remains steady, and your next fasting window feels easier. Over time, this pattern trains your metabolism to become flexible, to move smoothly between using food for energy and burning stored fat. That's the ultimate goal of fasting, not to deprive your body, but to teach it efficiency. It's tempting to think that fasting success comes from longer hours or fewer calories, but the truth is much simpler. It's about controlling the S first bite. Protein first means insulin control, muscle preservation, and sustainable fat loss, especially around the midsection. Once you make that shift, fasting stops feeling like a struggle and starts working like it's supposed to. Fasting and protein work like a dance. Both partners have to move in rhythm. When one goes too hard without the other, the flow breaks. Most people get the fasting part right. They choose their window, skip breakfast, and proudly make it to lunch. But they don't realize that the success of their fast depends entirely on what happens when they start eating again. The balance between fasting length and protein timing is what separates people who burn fat efficiently from those who just feel stuck and exhausted. Your body's needs change depending on how long you fast. During a shorter fast, say 14 to 16 hours, your glycogen stores are partially depleted, insulin is low, and your body has started to dip into fat for energy. When you end that fast, you don't need to overcompensate with massive amounts of protein. Moderate, Consistent intake at each meal is enough to keep your metabolism strong. About 25 to 30 grams of high-quality protein per meal is ideal for most people in this range. It replenishes amino acids, keeps your lean tissue intact, and maintains the momentum of fat burning without overwhelming digestion. But as your fasting window gets longer, 18, 20, even 24 hours, your body's chemistry changes more dramatically. After that long without food, your muscle tissue becomes more sensitive to amino acids. This is a good thing if you handle it right. It means your body is primed to use protein efficiently to repair and rebuild. However, it also means that refeeding matters even more. If you break a long fast with low protein or high sugar, your body swings sharply in the wrong direction, spiking insulin and shutting off fat burning just when it's most active. The key is strategic refeeding, giving your body what it needs to recover without overwhelming it. For longer fasts, your first meal should be rich in protein and minerals, but gentle on digestion. A simple collagen shake, a few boiled eggs, or bone broth with added amino acids can open your eating window smoothly. About 30 to 40 grams of protein in that first refeed meal helps your body start repairing muscle right away. Then, within a few hours, a follow-up meal with another 30 to 40 grams from whole food sources, like salmon, chicken, or Greek yogurt, locks in that recovery phase. This two-step rhythm prevents your metabolism from crashing and ensures that your next fasting cycle starts strong. Quality matters as much as timing. Not all proteins are created equal. Clean, complete sources provide the full spectrum of amino acids your body needs to repair and sustain lean tissue. Grass-fed beef, pasture-raised eggs, wild-caught fish, organic poultry, and fermented dairy like kefir or Greek yogurt all deliver what your metabolism thrives on without triggering excessive insulin. Contrast that with protein bars or shakes loaded with sweeteners. They may hit your protein target on paper, but the hidden sugars and additives work against your goals, raising insulin and stalling fat burning. Think of it like fueling an engine. You can't expect your body to run smoothly if you're pouring in cheap fuel after a long fast. Clean protein is premium fuel. It burns steady, supports muscle repair, and keeps your metabolism revved up. Over time, this approach trains your body to get better at mobilizing fat stores, especially visceral fat around your organs. It's also important to remember that more protein isn't always better. It's about matching it to your body's rhythm. Overeating protein after a short fast can still spike insulin and interfere with ketosis. The sweet spot is consistency. Moderate amounts spaced evenly across your eating window provide the signal your body needs to preserve muscle and maintain hormonal balance. It's not about eating a huge steak once a day. It's about giving your body enough amino acids at the right times to stay in repair mode without slipping into storage mode. When you align your protein timing with your fasting length, fasting becomes effortless. Your energy stabilizes, your hunger fades, and fat loss continues steadily without the roller coaster of fatigue or cravings. Fasting stops feeling like deprivation and starts feeling like rhythm, a cycle of gentle stress followed by smart recovery. And that rhythm, when fueled by clean, well-timed protein, is what keeps your metabolism flexible, your body strong, and your fat burning switch permanently on. The real power of fasting isn't in how long you can go without food. It's in how well your body adapts between fasting and feeding. When you understand how protein fits into that rhythm, fasting transforms from a temporary weight loss trick into a sustainable lifestyle that restores your metabolism instead of punishing it. Most people start fasting to lose fat, but they stay with it once they realize how it makes them feel clearer, lighter, more energetic. The missing piece that turns that short-term win into a long-term success story is protein. When fasting and protein are used together intentionally, your body stops fighting for survival and starts thriving in fat burning mode. This combination isn't about restriction. It's about restoration. You're not depriving your body. You're rebuilding it, teaching it how to manage energy the way it was designed to. Fasting lowers insulin and clears out stored energy, while protein provides the building blocks to preserve muscle and repair tissues. Together, they create a metabolic balance that allows you to burn visceral fat, that deep, dangerous fat around your organs, while keeping your metabolism strong. Once this balance clicks, everything changes. You stop white-knuckling your fasts. Your hunger levels normalize because your body trusts the process. It knows it's going to get the nutrients it needs when the window opens. Instead of bouncing between overeating and exhaustion, you settle into a rhythm where your energy feels clean, stable, and reliable. Your brain stops running on sugar spikes and crashes and starts running on ketones, the clean fuel your body produces during fasting. You think clearer, you move easier, and your waistline begins to shrink in ways that feel effortless, not forced. This lifestyle doesn't mean living on protein shakes or obsessing over macros. It means leading with protein when you eat, making it the foundation, not the afterthought. Whether it's eggs for breakfast, salmon for lunch, or a grass-fed burger at dinner, protein should come first. Add vegetables, healthy fats, and the occasional carb afterward if your body needs it. The protein first rule sets your hormones up for stability, keeps your insulin response balanced, and makes fasting the next day easier. That's the compounding power of this approach. Each day reinforces the next. One of my patients once told me she used to dread fasting days. She would feel dizzy by mid-morning, snapping at coworkers, counting the minutes until her eating window opened. Once we adjusted her protein intake, more at her first meal, and spaced more evenly throughout her window, everything changed. She stopped fighting hunger. She stopped snacking. Within a few weeks, her energy was higher than it had been in years, and her belly fat started to melt away. She wasn't fasting harder, she was fasting smarter. The longer you live this way, the more your body rewards you. Your muscle tissue becomes metabolically active, the opposite of what happens on low protein or calorie restricted plans. That muscle works for you around the clock, burning calories even at rest. And because your insulin stays stable, your body becomes a fat burning machine in the background, quietly drawing from visceral fat stores day after day. You're not forcing fat loss. You're allowing it. This is also why sustainability matters more than perfection. Some days your fast might be 14 hours, others 18. Some meals might hit your protein target perfectly, others might fall a little short. What matters is consistency over time. Every time you pair fasting with sufficient protein, you reinforce the signal your metabolism depends on preserve muscle, burn fat, stay balanced. The results compound slowly but powerfully, not through crash diets or all or nothing thinking, but through steady metabolic restoration. Fasting with protein isn't about shrinking your body, it's about strengthening it. You're training your metabolism to become efficient, flexible, and resilient. You're building a system that no longer depends on constant snacking or sugar hits for energy. Instead, your body learns to tap into its own fuel, your stored fat, while keeping your lean tissue intact. That's when fasting stops being a chore and becomes a natural rhythm, a lifestyle that works for you instead of against you. Once you master protein timing, fasting stops being a struggle and becomes your fat burning advantage.